Welcome back, everyone. As you probably guessed from the title, we are going over this particular firearm today. And what the heck is it? Well, it is the Beretta, new for 2023 anyway, 80X Cheetah. This one here is in black. They also have some in FDE, and essentially it is an updated version of this guy here. Now, there are several different SKUs of this. This is the 84BB variant of this gun. Of course, like they had 85, they had a bunch of different variants of this, but essentially they were double stack 380 ACP pistols, and this one here is double action, single action. This particular one here is single action only. I suppose you could lower the hammer to make it double action, single action, but not recommended. But they really did do a ton of updates to this gun. Obviously, it is optics ready, as you guys can see. They added a rail, they recontoured the grips, added some checkering that wasn't there before, and it has been a very popular gun in 2023. And when I saw they were actually releasing this, I think it was at SHOT, I reached out immediately to get one sent out for review. So just full disclosure on that, Beretta did send it out for review. But I don't honestly reach out for a lot of guns to review these days because there's not a lot of stuff that really catches my eye. But this gun just looks cool. It looks very, very cool. And of course, I've already had this one here. And anybody who watches the channel knows I am a big fan of the 92 M9 series of pistols. Well, it doesn't actually function quite the same. It is similar in design and look. It just has good looks to it, in my opinion. So I suppose with that intro, let's get up close and personal to see if this thing actually lives up to the hype that I thought it would. We will get into a comparison of these two guns here in just a second, because I know so many people love this gun and have this gun, so you want to see how the new one compares. I get it. But before we do that, we're going to go over the details on this firearm first, and we'll start at the bottom and sort of work our way to the top. And in first doing so, we're going to talk about the magazine. So the magazine, this is a new one for this particular gun. Obviously, you guys can see the Beretta logo on there. Here's a 13-round 380 magazine, and initially, Beretta said they were not compatible with the earlier magazines for the 84 series and the other clones. So I actually reached out to the folks at Metgar to see if that was true, and Metgar was nice enough to send a few mags out for this video. And I mean, I have used these mags throughout the video with various different rounds, hollow points, full metal jackets, etc., and had zero issues with the Metgar mags at all. Metgar mags with some 102 grain Remington hollow points. So we'll see if the older mags work in the new gun with hollow points. Beretta says they redesigned the mag for that. Let's see. Set that decocker. Here's it works. But they are different. So here, of course, Beretta is right here, and Metgar. You guys can see right up in here, they did change the magazine for sure. Other than that, though, it really is identical, at least to my eyes. And Beretta says now that if you're going to use hollow points, make sure you use the actual Beretta magazines, because they were specifically designed to increase reliability for that. Again, I did not see any issues at all with reliability in my example using either type of round. Metgar 84 mags with some flat tip non-hollow points. So here on the bottom, you can see it does have a slight bevel to the mag well, not much, but it is there. On the front of the grip here, we do have good checkering. It's very good, in fact. I mean, it bites down to your hand better than a lot of full-size guns do, that's for sure. The same is true here on the back strap. And for new folks, those are the areas where it matters the most. Grip on the sides does matter, but on the front and back is really where it matters the most, because under recoil, the gun wants to do that in your hand. So we do have these grip panels on there. Again, good texturing. It still leaves you a pretty easy way to release your magazine, and of course you can reverse your magazine release if you want to do that. If you're left-handed, feel free. The actual decocker here is ambidextrous. Now, some things that came out when this gun was first released, folks were saying that you could carry this gun cocked and locked. I mean, I guess you could. It wouldn't be safe, though, in my opinion. This is a decocker only from a functional perspective. So basically, when the hammer is back, you're going to push up and see there is a notch right there, but that notch doesn't do anything. At this point, the safety is not on, and if you pull the trigger, it will go bang. So it is a decocker only, right? Obviously, it's a safety as well, so at this point, we have a dead trigger, but decock it, and then put it back down to fire. The trigger on this is excellent. Excellent. It's one of the best double action factory triggers on the market. It breaks right at 7 pounds, and then in single action, you guys can see short reset there, and it breaks right around 5 pounds. Trigger on the gun, really, really good. And honestly, I don't think you lose much with that double action in terms of accuracy. A lot of guns you will. This one you really don't. They did an excellent job redesigning that trigger, in my opinion. Continuing on forward, our slide lock is right here, and you push up on it. It has good serrations on it as well, so you can come up and hit it, or just hit it with your strong hand thumb if your hands are big enough, which mine certainly are. Continuing on forward, we do have a squared off trigger guard, which the earlier ones don't, which is going to cause an issue for some holsters, as will the 1913 light rail out front. So you can put lights, lasers, etc., whatever you want on there, and it will work just fine. We've obviously had some on there. We've dropped ours a good bit, as you guys can see. It's a little nicked up, but it is perfectly fine. The frame itself is aluminum, and the pistol overall, in terms of weight, comes in right around 25 ounces. So compared to some of the micro 380s out there, this will not be competing for the lightest weight of the crew for sure. This is our takedown lever here on the right side of the pistol, and we'll take it down here in just a second. But looking here at the slide, we do have forward serrations. We also have serrations back there at the rear. Obviously, with our optic on there, it's a little bit harder to get to them, but you still can. But of course, if you want to come under and do that pinch, I believe a lot of Marines were taught that on the 92 series, you can do so as well. Barrel itself is a fixed barrel, which is definitely different than the 92 series. And our sights are dovetailed in on the front, and then the rear, of course, is removable to be able to be replaced with an optics plate. Now, when this gun came out, folks couldn't get these optics plates anywhere, but I can tell you right now, as when I'm making this, they are on the Beretta website. And if you guys are watching this not on YouTube, we will have a link to go over there and pick those plates up. They're available for a few different optics types. Obviously, this is a Shield RMSC, and we have the Holosun EPS carry on there. Now, one point of caution, I guess you're going to say, for this review is you guys can see there, we have some nicks on the actual optic up here on the front as well. We did a drop test, testing out the EPS from Holosun, and we had an issue with it that we'll get into in that video, which isn't out yet. But the issue we had with it was actually not with the optic. So spoiler alert. I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's actually moving. And I checked these screws here, which mount to the plate, and those are tight as can be. So the actual plate itself loosened up, and it was installed properly with Loctite. So I don't know if it's just the actual drop test that we did, which again, they were pretty violent, and the gun is a little bit heavy for this size optic. So that definitely could be it. I don't recommend dropping your 80X Cheetah repeatedly onto steel while it's loaded. It's just not a good recipe, but just pointing that out because if folks do ask about plate systems inherently versus being a direct mill system do have some potential for issues, if you will, and that is one of them. So with that, let's get into disassembly. Of course, we have already dropped our magazine, and we know that we are unloaded. So at this point, we're going to push this little button right here over, lower this down, and slide comes right off. So very simple. I know a lot of folks like that. You don't have to press the trigger on it to disassemble it. Looking in the frame there, you guys can see very good machining, as you would expect from the folks at Beretta. You can take out our recoil spring and guide rod, and then take our barrel out. And you'll notice there the barrel doesn't have anything underneath it. No Browning style lug, nothing like the M9 has. It's just locked in place when it's ready to be fired. Of course, we have a lot of wear on there because we've shot this gun a ton. You can see in there we have good feed ramps for feeding any type of ammo, but one thing to note there is that you guys can see there, that is how the magazine sits and feeds, and right there we have a built-in feed ramp into the frame, and our barrel is essentially, I mean, it's right there. So pretty tough to have any type of malfunctions with this design, which is just one of the things that leads to great reliability. These guns have always been reported to be very reliable since this one was around, and the new 80X Cheetah is no exception. Putting it together is pretty straightforward, but there is one thing I want to point out that will frustrate folks if you don't know about it. So just stick with me for that. And at this point, in order to actually finish the reassembly, you have to push the barrel back. Otherwise, this will not go up. So if you didn't know that, that will save you some frustration right there, kids. And at this point, we're just going to, of course, do a quick functions check, and the gun is ready to go. We've already touched on some of the differences between the pistols, but the biggest one, in my opinion, from like an end user perspective, is the trigger. The trigger on this gun is actually okay, particularly for its time, but this trigger is phenomenal for any time. But this one, of course, was designed to be operated, cocked, and locked with our ambidextrous safety, and there is no decocking mechanism outside of thumb lowering, which is generally speaking not recommended. As you can see, no light rail, different trigger guard as well, and the grips just there for the period, if you will. So they're very slick, very slippery. They might look cool, but no checkering here on the front or the back. This gun's a very good gun for sure, but this one, in my opinion, especially from a user interface, is just much better. And one thing that has definitely made a difference for me is the way they recontoured this beaver tail. It may be hard to tell, but with this particular gun, if you have large hands especially, it beats your hand up. It's just all that recoil force is right here on the edge of these grips, and it's like almost painful. It's not painful, it's a 380, but for a 380, it is not pleasant to shoot, whereas here we've completely rounded those off, and it doesn't have that point sticking into the top of your hand. Let's see how its predecessor fares. Big takeaway for me with my hands is how much that safety beats the crap out of my hands. But that's probably because I just have large hands, but big difference. The new one with the improved ergos doesn't do that. Now, some folks who have really large hands are going to get slide bite type issues from this gun for sure. I have extra large hands in most glove sizes, just to give you guys an idea. So for me, it wasn't an issue, but I can see it happening, and I've seen reports of it online. So if you're like 6'6" and taller, which is like what, 1% of the population, then it could be an issue for you. At this point in the video, I think we've covered most of the pertinent points with a couple exceptions, and those are going to be reliability and price point. So reliability on this one has been 100% reliable. Like I said, thanks to the bags that were sent out from Metgar, we were able to put a pretty high volume through this gun in a relatively short time. So it's got right around 1,200 rounds through it at this point. All of those coming from our friends at Firearms Depot. So we definitely appreciate their help with the ammo support here on the channel. If you guys are looking for good deals, definitely check them out for that. But yeah, 100% reliable. Probably 100 rounds of that have been hollow points, Remington 100 grain hollow points, and again, zero issues of any kind with this gun. We also ran those Norma, the really lightweight stuff through there, and that ran fine as well. I think it's like 56 grains, so it ate it all up. Cannot be mad at all about the reliability. The accuracy is phenomenal. Exactly as you'd expect with a gun that has a great trigger and a fixed barrel. That tends to be what you'd expect. Now, recoil impulse on that note is probably more than a lot of people would expect if you're used to shooting, like, say you have like a Ruger Security 380 or something like that, like a more full-size 380. Because of that barrel system, it is a little bit punchier. That said, it is not bad at all. If you are recoil sensitive, I don't think this is a gun that you should shy away from, because for most folks, it's going to be perfectly fine. Additionally, one thing that's nice about this for the target market, I think, is that aluminum frame. So a lot of people who are smaller, have smaller hands, weaker hands, whatever the case may be, have an issue with limp wristing. And the Beretta 92 frame design and the slide design is not limp wrist proof. I would never say that, but it is less likely to happen with this design than many others. So if that is something you're concerned with, then just know that going forward. One of the cons of the gun for sure, especially compared to other guns that you might be looking at if you're looking at this gun, is going to be the price point. So right now, it's the end of July 2023 when I filmed this, and these are going for anywhere from like $725 to $800. So it's not a cheap gun. That said, I would say, in my opinion, in my experience, it is a very high quality gun. So it is well made, well engineered, fit and finish are flawless. It feels like quality when you handle it, if that matters to you. The other con of the pistol that I would say, and it's just, again, a product of its design, if you will, and when it was designed, is that if you want the optics mount for it, then you do lose your rear sight. Now, I should note the rear sight that comes with it is very good, and most folks probably, even nowadays, are not running optics on their gun, but if you want to, it does have the option. So there is that, but you do lose the ability to co-witness any type of sights. So just kind of know that going forward, like we have here with this EPS carry. It does have that little U-notch built into the rear, and you actually can use it with the front sight. It shoots about 8 inches high at 10 yards if you do that. So in like self-defense distances, you can get away with it, but it's less than ideal, I suppose. But so that is a pro and a con, I suppose, is the optics cut nature of the gun. And then we already talked about the mounting system. But all in all, guys, I think it is a very good gun. Is it a practical gun? If you're like myself and you're a relatively healthy, strong man who's a pretty experienced shooter, no. Is it a good gun? Yes. I would say it is a cool gun for most people who are going to be looking at it. I look at this gun in 2023 very similar to how I look at like a 1911. It's not super practical. Could you absolutely use it in a self-defense situation? 100%. But are there maybe better options for it? For a lot of people, not everyone, but for a lot of people, yeah, probably. Do I love it? Yeah, I really do. It lived up to the hype for me. I think it's just phenomenal, and I will be shooting it a bunch more just because I enjoy shooting the gun. It's, again, it just feels like quality, which is something that you don't get in a lot of the other competitive offerings. So with that, I think that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, you can always post those down below in the comment section. I look forward to hearing them. I'm sure the comment section will be full after this video. So there's that. If you guys haven't subscribed and you like this video and you're not seeing 2 to 4 videos a week here on the channel, hit that subscribe button. Again, hit the notification bell because sometimes that matters here on YouTube, but I do put up 2 to 4 videos every week. And like I said, if you're not seeing them and you want to see them, you can sign up for the email at the website here on your screen. It goes out every month, just once a month, not very spammy at all, and it has all of my videos since the previous month's email went out, so that way there's no big tech giant censoring your eyes from my content. If this thing goes on sale, ammo goes on sale, optics go on sale, that will go out in my daily deals email. The daily deals email has 6 to 8 of the best deals that we find around the internet. It goes out every day as the name indicates. You can sign up for it at the website here on your screen, and if it's in that email, it's the cheapest I know of anywhere on the internet on that particular day, so that way it saves you guys some time because I've already done the price comparisons for you, and hopefully saves you some money as well. That's it, guys. That's all I got for you. Thank you all for watching. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.